Todd, I'll begin with you. I heard you say earlier in the day that you thought pretty good chance this was going to be the outcome with Pete Alonso. Why was that the case for you?
Look, first of all, I think the reaction that we all have was very well articulated by one of the most insightful and thoughtful and articulate voices of this Mets franchise, and that's Gary Cohen in the last segment. So aside from that, I got the sense that Pete was probably on his way out when I saw Edwin Diaz going to the Dodgers. That one was the one that surprised me more and made me recognize that David Stearns really had a plan. He was not going to veer from that plan. I think part of that plan had some guardrails around the length of contracts. He had been very clear about the fact that he didn't like to sign guys in their 30s to the second half of the big deals. He likes to be on the front end of it. He likes to develop talent, bring them in, and extend them when they're homegrown guys. But this one was one that I thought, as soon as I heard A, Edwin Diaz going somewhere else, B, Kyle Schwarber getting interest from the Baltimore Orioles at a 5-year clip, I thought, wow, that's a really good fit for Pete, especially with Scott Boras leading the charge and being very adamant about the fact that it was length of contract that was important to Pete. So it wasn't a surprise to me. And unfortunately, it was emotionally a gut blow. And I think for Mets fans, it's going to take some time to get over this one. But from a business standpoint, I was not surprised.
Yeah, no question about it. Met fans are reeling on this day and night. My phone, as I'm sure all of us, has been blowing up all day long. What about you, Jared, from a surprise standpoint? Considering the Mets were not going to go to 5 years for Pete, were you surprised?
Not surprised at all. I'm just happy for Pete because I felt like the disrespect that he got across the league last year in free agency really gave him that sour taste. He came and had an excellent year last year, kind of upped his game from the year before. I was just hoping one team would show him the love that he deserves, that contract that he earned. I'm glad that he found it because he really does deserve it. It felt like it's inevitable that he was going to end up elsewhere because the Mets clearly showed that they weren't interested in a long-term deal with him. But I got to agree with Todd that it was the Edwin Diaz $3 million difference, 3 years only, that they let him walk. And this felt like an inevitability with Pete Alonso going elsewhere, though.
One of the things Keith asked Gary Cohen last segment, the legacy of Pete Alonso. I'll begin with you on that, Todd. What do you think the legacy is?
Look, the legacy is, as Gary said, he's the most prolific home run hitter, at least to this point, of the Mets lifeline that there has ever been in a Mets uniform. And I think he's going to also go down as a guy that is remembered as a great Met, a guy that embraced the city of New York. He embraced the Mets fans. He did things for the community. And I think he wore that uniform proudly. And I think the Mets had that name across his chest with pride as well. He's a guy that, as you said, posts up every single day, wanted to be out there. It was important for him to be a guy that led this team by example. And at the end of the day, I think he's also come up with some of the greatest clutch hits and home runs in Mets history as well. So I think he's going to be remembered as not just a guy that could hit home runs, but would post up and have the big moments as a Met, and he'll be sorely missed. And as Jerry said, I would like the same sentiment. I'm really happy for Pete. I think he's deserving of the contract that he's gotten, and I think he'll continue to thrive elsewhere, and much to the chagrin of Mets fans, perhaps, but, proud of him for sticking it out and getting an opportunity somewhere else.
I thought it was interesting in the spring when he came and sat with us on our set down in Port St. Lucie. We said, it's good to see you back. And he sort of smiled and he said, I was never going anywhere. And that was certainly the case last year, but not the case now. So, Jerry, he is on his way to Baltimore. Follow up on what Todd said as you see his legacy in his 7 years with the Mets.
He's the greatest home run hitter in Mets history, not just by the numbers. He was an absolute power threat, has been his entire career since he burst on the scene and hit 53, broke the rookie record. Just an absolutely incredible run. But my favorite part is the fact that he did post up. He's a hard hat, work gloves, lunch pail to work, old school, get your uniform dirty kind of player. One that doesn't really exist as often in today's game as used to be. He's an old school power hitting first baseman. It was an absolute joy to watch him in a Mets uniform, knowing that he's going to be there, going to do everything he can to be out there on that field and try to make the Mets team the winningest they could be. And truly, he's for me on the Mount Rushmore of New York Mets players of all time.